Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Talks are ongoing with two potential investors for cash-strapped LIAT. This story takes the lead in our 1138th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Wednesday, 23rd June 2021. Details after this break.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown has indicated that talks are ongoing with two potential investors for cash-strapped LIAT.
Talks are ongoing with two potential investors for cash-strapped LIAT. Word of this from Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who also hinted at the possibility of a new company to administer the affairs of the regional airline. Prime Minister Brown, speaking on his radio program over the weekend, also said that the offer to LIAT workers of up to a maximum of 50% of their severance, either by cash, land or government bonds, or a combination of the three, was still on the table.
So it's for them to accept the proposal that the government of Antigua and Barbuda extended to them to cover up to 50% of their liabilities. Primarily their service liabilities. We still have at least two entities that are negotiating with the administrator to become shareholders within the LIAT company. May have to be a new company because when you look at what is happening presently, the threats that are made, the demands that are made by past staff, members of staff and the union, I'm not even sure now that LIAT 1974 Limited will be viable, so it may have to be a LIAT 2020 that is just recapitalized and start as a new entity and provide the service payments for those who worked for LIAT 1974 Limited. But we still have two viable investors who the administrator is having discussions with, and we're hoping that they will come in and to bring some capital to the table.
Trinidad and Tobago's health minister says active talks involving different arms of the government, the White House and international health organizations are underway regarding whether Trinidad and Tobago will benefit from 500 million Pfizer vaccines being donated by the United States to low and lower middle income countries around the world. Jewel Brown of TV6 News reports.
In the Senate on Tuesday, Senate President Christine Kangaloo allowed the leader of opposition business, Wade Mark, to pose an urgent question to Health Minister Terence Dial-Singh about the acquisition of vaccines from the United States.
Given a recent report from the Gavi Alliance outlining Trinidad and Tobago's ineligibility to qualify for the $500 million worth of vaccines being donated by the United States to developing countries, can the minister advise as to the government's response to this information?
On its website, the Gavi Vaccine Alliance says it is co-leading the COVAX facility, which is described as a global risk-sharing mechanism for pooled procurement and equitable distribution of COVID-19 vaccines. On June 10th, the White House stated that the United States will purchase and donate 500 million Pfizer vaccines to 92 low and lower middle-income countries and the African Union. U.S. President Joe Biden also said that the U.S. is providing the 500 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine with no strings attached. As he added, the donation is meant to save lives. Health Minister Diyal Singh informed the Senate,
Madam President, the matter raised is actively being discussed amongst the following parties: the White House, PAHO, CARFA, the Office of the Prime Minister, and the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs.
Then Senator Mark posed the follow-up question.
If for some reason we become ineligible for accessing this $500 million worth of vaccine being donated by the United States, can the minister advise how will this impact, if at all, on the government's vaccine rollout program?
President, it is premature to accept Senator Mark's assertion. It is being actively pursued. Let us wait for the fruit to ripen out of those discussions.
The White House had said the 500 million Pfizer vaccines from the U.S. will start shipping in August 2021. The White House further stated that 200 million doses will be delivered by the end of this year, and the remaining 300 million will be delivered in the first half of 2022. The White House said the U.S. will allocate these doses to low and lower middle income nations around the world working through the COVAX facility. On Saturday, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley spoke about that announcement by the Biden administration.
The promise from the United States to share their vaccines, and we have not seen anything beyond that so far. We don't know what will come through, and I may add one more caveat. We don't know if we'll qualify based on what yardstick they'll be using for distributing that vaccine. So that is at tier 4.
On Tuesday, the health minister made reference to the other 3 tiers of the government's vaccine procurement plan, including bilateral talks the government has had with China, where the Sinopharm Beijing vaccine is manufactured.
This government has had many irons in the fire, and it was that reason we have imported into the country 200,000 doses of Sinopharm vaccines last week. We also have another 300,000 coming in July. So our bilateral talks are paying rich dividends.
Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. It's grey skies and grim news for Caribbean Airlines. Monday, the airline announced hundreds of workers are set to lose their jobs. Anselm Gibbs of TV6 News reports.
The COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in turbulence for Caribbean Airlines. With air travel down, the airline's revenue is also down.
A loss of 172 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars was recorded.
That loss was for the first quarter of this year. CAL's revenue is down 75% compared to the same period last year. On Monday, the airline said the time has come to cut costs, with those cuts affecting its fleet, its route network, and jobs.
And in the context of employees, and by way of numbers, it's somewhere in the area of 25%, or about 450 positions. However, I hasten to add that a process of consultation is being undertaken with employees.
Looking even further at the numbers, CAL says, since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic and the suspension of operations at its base in Trinidad and Tobago, the airline has seen passenger numbers plummet and flight numbers reduced to less than 10% of normal operations.
Although the announcement that the borders will soon reopen is very welcome news. The industry forecasts have suggested that the recommencement of travel will not be in the same volumes as they were pre-COVID.
Cal says passenger demand in the short to medium term is not going to recover sufficiently to support the existing company structure after the reopening of TNT's borders. So what does that mean for anyone hoping to hop on a flight once the borders reopen?
To our valued customers, that our operations continue and they can expect the same level of safety and service that they've come to know. And going forward, we remain optimistic.
Anselm Gibbs, TV6 News.
The Police Welfare Association, PWA in St. Lucia, has hailed the announcement of the partial U.S. sanctions relief for the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Joachim Duplessis of HTS News Force reports.
The Police Welfare Association has welcomed the news of Leahy Law sanctions relief for some units of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. In August 2013, the U.S. government withdrew security assistance from the RSLPF, citing concerns over what it says were reports of 12 alleged extrajudicial killings by an ad hoc task force of local police during a crackdown on violent crime in 2010-2011, which culminated with Operation Restore Confidence. A subsequent impacts probe was conducted in 2014. But while the PWA is receptive of the news of the easing of sanctions, the Public Relations Officer Stanislaus Albert says the fate of the officers implicated in the alleged human rights violation still hangs in the balance.
We have welcomed the initiative, but this initiative, like I have said before, doesn't quite really help our membership protected. Because, like everyone would know, we have some officers who were implicated in the Leahy Law being imposed upon us. And at this present moment, they still are. So, as much as we welcome the initiative, but we were really hoping that the affliction to our members would be removed also. And that is what the PWA is really hoping for. Because at this point in time, the members who are affected are still affected in the same way that they will and still continue to be.
Albert argues that it is imperative that the matter is properly adjudicated to bring about closure regarding the guilt or innocence of the police officers who have been sidelined by the sanctions. The PRO-PWA made a special appeal to the Director of Public Prosecutions, who has been overseeing the ORC impacts case, to move with haste.
It's in the hands of the DDP. So, at this present moment, we are saying whatever has to be done, let it be done so that these members could be relieved of all the anxiety of the pain that they are presently going through.
It should be noted that, contrary to some reports, the Leahy sanctions on the RSLPF as an organization remain firmly in place. Only some units of the force have been given a reprieve. That is the Marine Police Unit and the Immigration, which are earmarked for the formation of a border control agency. Albert says, despite the big announcement, the PWA and its members remain in the dark on the finer details.
We, like everybody else, have heard of it in the media and during the time that the Prime Minister and the Ambassador was online with regards to the same. And we have not been told anything else with regards to why that it happened at this point in time.
The PWA representative says the fallout from ORC impacts continues to cast a long shadow over the storied RSLPF.
We keep focusing on just those persons who are implicated in ORC. But apparently, the sanctions of the Leahy Law have impacted all police officers in various ways. So we as welfare, we just want to say to them that be assured that we as welfare will continue fighting on their behalf, and we will do all in our powers to see that the pains are relieved.
The CARICOM Impacts Probe was activated following the suspension of U.S. defense aid to the local police force in 2013 because of alleged extrajudicial killings during 2010-2011. The team, which comprised 8 investigators including a ballistics expert, a legal advisor, a data entry specialist, a cybercrime analyst, and detective investigators, go to work in 2014. Former Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony, in his March 8, 2015 address to the nation, disclosed that the investigation concluded that the killings under review were unlawful. The matter continues to wither on the vine, despite some officers being brought in for questioning by the office of the current DPP in 2017. Joachim Duplessis, HTS News Force.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the Food Fair from anywhere in the world, and you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket, and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.